What was the most gut-wrenching thing your parents did to you? When I was 14, my parents sat me down for what they called an important family discussion. They'd been acting strange for weeks, hushed conversations that stopped when I entered rooms, my mom crying at random moments, my dad working late every night. "We need to tell you something about your brother," Mom said. I was confused. "What about James?" James had died when I was 2. Car accident. I had exactly 3 memories of him, though I wasn't sure if they were real or constructed from old photos. He was my parents' perfect son who'd been taken too soon, the ghost that haunted every family milestone. Dad pulled out a folder thick with documents. James didn't die in a car accident. The room tilted. Mom was sobbing now, unable to speak. "He's alive," Dad continued. "He's been alive this whole time." James, my brother who I'd mourned at his grave every year, was in a psychiatric facility 3 hours away. Had been since he was 7 and I was 2. He'd tried to kill me multiple times as a toddler. Suffocation, drowning, pushing me downstairs. The final attempt involved a kitchen knife. My parents made the impossible choice. Institutionalize one son to save the other. "We told everyone he died," Mom whispered. "It was easier than explaining. And we thought if you knew, you'd grow up afraid." For 12 years, they'd visited him weekly. Those date nights every Saturday, those were visits to James. The weekend trips they took alone, meetings with his doctors, the college fund they wouldn't discuss, his medical bills. They showed me recent photos. James looked like me, but broken, heavily medicated, vacant eyes, restrained to prevent self-harm. He didn't remember me, they said. The cocktail of medications had erased most of his childhood memories. "Why tell me now?" I asked, voice barely working. "He's getting worse," Dad said. "The facility wants to try an experimental treatment. We need to make decisions about his future, and you're old enough to be part of that." The betrayal was suffocating. Every birthday wish at his grave, every time I'd said I wished I had a brother, every moment of guilt for being the surviving child, all based on a lie. "Can I meet him?" They exchanged looks. "He's violent," Mom said, "especially toward young males. The doctors think seeing you might trigger something," but I insisted. 2 weeks later, we drove to the facility. The building was nicer than I expected. Looked like a college campus. James was in the high security ward. They brought him to a visitation room, hands cuffed to the table. He looked through me like I was furniture. When the doctor said I was his brother, James laughed. "I don't have a brother," he said. "I killed him when I was little." Mom ran from the room. Dad followed. I sat there staring at this stranger who'd haunted our family as both presence and absence. "Did you really try?" I asked quietly. James tilted his head, suddenly focused. "Try what?" "To kill me." Something shifted in his eyes. Not recognition, but interest. "They say I did. I dream about it sometimes. Drowning a baby. But dreams aren't real." He smiled, and it was my smile, twisted wrong. "Are you real?" I visited monthly after that, against my parents' wishes. James never remembered me visit to visit, but he started calling me Dream Brother. He'd tell me about the baby he killed in his dreams, not knowing it was me, alive, sitting across from him. My parents couldn't understand why I kept going. Neither could I, really. Maybe I was trying to reclaim the 12 years of brotherhood they'd stolen. Maybe I was punishing them by endangering myself. Maybe I just needed to understand what darkness lived in someone who shared my DNA. The experimental treatment failed. James attacked an orderly, got moved to maximum security. My last visit, he was so medicated he couldn't lift his head. He mumbled about the baby again, how sorry he was, how the dreams wouldn't stop. "I forgive you," I told him, not sure if I meant it. He looked up, brief clarity in his eyes. "You look like him," he said. "The baby. You look like he would have." James died by suicide 6 months later. We had a real funeral this time. The extended family was confused. How do you mourn someone who's been dead for 15 years? My parents wanted to maintain the lie, but I insisted on truth. The obituary read, "James Sullivan, 22, passed after a lifelong battle with mental illness." At the service, my aunt pulled me aside. "We knew," she said. "We all knew. But your parents needed to believe the lie worked." I don't speak to my parents much now. Not out of anger, but exhaustion. They played God with truth, decided what I could handle, stole my chance to know my brother when he was still reachable. They protected me so thoroughly that when I finally learned the truth, it destroyed us all anyway.